our new plot and blind setup is nearing completion here. We're about ready to seed it with the new Vari-Maxx, the little 4-foot Vari-Maxx. We've got fertilizer out. We've worked the ground. We've removed unwanted vegetation and trees and shrubs. We got the Shadow Hunter set. It's in a perfect spot. It's got plenty of cover here. We've got clear shooting lanes, to both directions and back into the woods. And this is a natural funnel. Those deer should come right through, either behind us when we get them in the woods, or right in front on this food plot. It's been a lot of work, and it's not 100 out here, but it's definitely in the 90s. It's been like that for about a week now. So it's been kind of tough to get this done, but I'm glad we did it. I think it's all going to work out in the end. I'm also excited about the new blend. I can't really talk to you about it, but there's a new seed blend that I'm putting out in this plot, and I'm really excited to see how well it does and see what the deer think about it, of course. Hopefully we'll get this done in the next few minutes and move on to the next one. So a couple years ago, I actually bought a Massey Ferguson GC subcompact tractor from a local dealership there. It's actually Lakers Farm Service there in Rushville. Good friends of ours, have done business for many years. They also sell our equipment. But once I got this unit, I realized that I like to have a small, Vari-Maxx and a 4-foot wide width. That way I can get in these small micro plots, have all the features of one of the bigger 6 or 8 foot units, but just shrink it down in size to fit behind a smaller, subcompact tractor. These are probably the most popular, subcompact is probably the most popular size of tractors on the market today. So with that being said, I designed this just for a small tractor. It has a lower hitch, that way we can raise it further off the ground, for low clearance areas if I got to cross a creek or a ditch or something. We do have the adjustable disc gangs on this one, just like the big ones. Same metering system, hopper box, and it also has the drive disconnect, which I think is cool. If we want to use this to work the ground, we can flip the box down, pull, turn, and then we can disengage the meter system here, and we can run it and use it as a tillage tool that will actually break the ground up a little bit and then cold-pack it down. That's the important thing, is to get it cold-packed down and firmed up so you can go right into it, and it's got a nice firm seed bed. Now for seeding, we're going to turn it back to the lock position. I've already got the ground worked, I've already got fertilizer, and this is actually going to incorporate that fertilizer as the last step as I'm seeding. So I'm doing 2 things at once. I'm mixing in my fertilizer and I'm putting down the seed, making it just a more streamlined process and just one less step. We've got a lot of plots to do, and I've got a short window here before the rain, and I'm glad we're able to do this today. I've got some new test seed from a seed company. I can't talk too much about it, but let's just say I'm really excited and I'm hoping for great things. First thing we've got to do is go ahead and get the meter system set. I'm familiar with this style of seed, so I've got a pretty good idea where to set the meter. First, we're going to go ahead and loosen the wing nut, and then we're going to adjust the tape measure. I think we're going to be, just about 5/16 is what I'm thinking here. Open that up to 5/16 on the outside of the washer, and then we're going to lock down this wing nut to make sure that it doesn't move on you. That is as simple as it gets when you're talking about setting a meter system. No other manufacturer has anything close to it. That's probably the most versatile metering system, out there. And I like the fact that it's made out of cast iron. It's not plastic, the way everything is today. This unit does really well behind the small subcompact tractor and these, what I call micro plots. This wouldn't have been possible unless I had a unit of this size with this type of tractor to be able to do this. I'm hoping that with the amount of fertilizer we put on, if we can get a rain in the next couple of days, which we've got about a 40% chance tomorrow, that should definitely help this germinate and take off. We're a little bit late planting. We're at the end of August here, and it's kind of do or die time. If you're going to put them in, you need to get them in now, and just hope for the best and pray for rain. One great thing about the Vari-Maxx is you can physically look back and see the seed coming out of the meter
and know that you're putting seed out and know that it's coming out at the correct rate. Especially once you've done it a little while, you can really tell about how much, needs to be coming out. If it's really flowing or you see an excessive amount of seed, you probably want to stop and either shut it down a little bit or do another calibration to make sure that you're right. This is looking really good to me right now. The largest seed in the mix, the peas, are coming out, which is important, but I'm not seeing a huge amount of the smaller stuff just pouring out like sometimes happens when you have a big range of seed in the mix. It's actually flowing quite well, and this plot should only take a few minutes. And we're getting good soil contact with this seed. It's really important. Yeah, firming up the seed bed is one of the best things you can do after any style of broadcast seeding, whether it be with a machine, with a hand crank, or anything in between. Okay. Go ahead and spin it around. It's a little chunky over here, but that Vari-Maxx should chop it up with those discs being angled like that, and it is. Not only that, we're getting it packed down nice like we were talking about. And with this unit, you can do a 90-degree turn, just go easy. It is not a drill, this is a seeder, so it is a little more tolerant of some turning and some rougher conditions. No-till drills are great. We definitely make them and I love using them, but there are some times that you need to work the dirt, especially on a brand new plot. I think that's a must for me. I want to see what I've got. I want to get my fingers in it. I want to see what I'm working with. You can definitely get a lot of information from the soil test, but being somebody that farms a little bit, you can definitely get a lot better feel for what you're dealing with by getting a good look at it. And that's what I like to do. This plot is going quick, just a few more passes and we're going to have it done. And the great thing about this Vari-Maxx with that compactor is you can see exactly where I've been. So I don't have big overlaps or anything like that, which, ensures that I'm putting the right seed rate down. And that's one thing, some guys don't think about is when you have a lot of overlap, then you're putting down, some really heavy amounts of seed in a very small band on either end of each pass that you make. And when it comes to brassicas and a lot of the stuff that we do for a food plot, that can be one of the worst things you can do is to seed it too heavy, and everything will fight itself, and your plants won't mature is probably the biggest problem with doing that. You'll have good browse for a little while, but a lot of times I'm doing these brassicas for my later season. If things go bad and I need deer to have nutrition later season, and not just for hunting, just for the them surviving the winter and having the best chance for success that they can. That's what we're doing here. We're trying to provide the best environment that we can come up with the land we have and the tools at our disposal for our deer. I know it's kind of wrong, but I like to consider them my deer. I know they're in the state of Indiana, and anyone can hunt them, free range, but the ones that live on our farm, I like to think that we're, raising and taking care of, just like we, do our cattle and everything else. There's no fences here, but Feel pretty safe on this farm and have lived here for generations. And now that we're actually managing it, you know, I think that within the next few years, I expect something special to come off this farm. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that, something special. I've already harvested a buck of a lifetime off of this farm, my very first year hunting here. But, you know, I would definitely like to get a couple more deer of that caliber on the wall just to improve the collection and just, you know, just to show what is possible with some good management, food plots. You know, in Indiana we can put minerals out, and I tend to use big tine. You know, Joe's a great guy, a good friend of mine, and he's always taking care of me when it comes to minerals and seed. So as far as I'm concerned, there's no better stuff out there, and I would recommend it to anybody in any situation. I'm gonna get off here and check the seed. Yeah, probably should have stopped a little before this. Yep, that was just about right. We have just a very small amount left, and I'm scooting it into the last couple meters. And the funny thing is, we are on the very last strip of our plot, so that worked out perfectly. Honestly, I like to have a little extra in there. I know everybody wants to go off the bag and say, well, this bag does 1 acre. It should do exactly 1 acre. That is in a perfect world, and that is if you are singulating every single seed. You make no extra passes, you have no overlap, and everything is exactly perfect. That does not happen in a food plot, not very often. I like to have a little bit extra, that way I know when I get to the very end, I still have a little bit of seed and I didn't run out. You know, we were dangerously close here, but we still had seed. So just keep an eye on it. You know, I like to stop about halfway through the plot just to make sure that I'm right. You know, I'm watching the seed the whole time. I watch it come out of the meters and drop onto the pan there, so I've got a good idea that, you know, seed is flowing. But when you see that starts to slow a little bit, you definitely want to check and make sure that you have enough. We're going to finish up here and we're going to move on to the next plot. Well, just reloaded the hopper box here with some clover and our access path down the side of the corn here. We're going to go ahead and get it planted to finish out this plot. We've got the new mix here on the end in front of the Shadow Hunter, but the access needs to be clear, and I want something I can mow. You know, we definitely planted a strip down either side. Hopefully they'll have enough time to grow up and give us a little bit of cover, but the very center is going to be clover and should give us good access, and I can just mow it and maintain it just to have a way in here. This should be the last step of this plot, and hopefully when we come back here, it's either to check camera cards or well, October we'll be hunting this spot. So everything went well today. It's a little hot, been definitely feeling the heat. Here at Casco, we're kind of used to the heat. We definitely don't have air conditioning out in the shop. It's a weld shop, and so it's just par for the course, but I will be glad to get home and get cleaned up this evening.